Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the weekend is over and we are about to begin the first trading day of April tomorrow. So I'm going to go over the watch list. I got a few things as far as stocks go and global and what to prepare for this week with the news. Now, before I get into that, I have a few more important things. One, I need to make sure that you guys are posting your watch list here. This is for the community and everybody. I want you guys get trading ideas out there so everybody could see it. It's all going to be in the comment section, and I'm going to go over them live on stream. So make sure you guys are there. It's in the description. It's pinned into the comments. YouTube.com/the stock market. We are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. So pre-market, we're going to go over what we have in the comment section, what we're talking about here, and kind of get a gauge of where everything is at. So there's that. And then lastly, like the video, you guys. Subscribe if you are new too, if you want this. We have these content, the market recaps, and some other day trading and investing, long-term investing tutorials, all that. It's great stuff. But appreciate you guys. Drop a like, show some love. But let's get into it. So as far as this week, before I get to the companies, you guys could come here, Trading Economics. You could take a look at the calendar. We've already received from China manufacturing numbers that were actually positive. So be on the lookout for that. The U.S. is going to release some manufacturing numbers later this week. And as far as there will be a few Fed speeches here and there, we saw what happened with Larry Kudlow's comments last week. I want to see how that digests with what he said about the rate cut. Let's see what some of these other guys say. So that's one thing to look for. And then the only real big piece of news, I would say, is going to be the non-farms on Friday. I think I went a little too far, but yeah. Where is it? Right here, April 5th. So April 5th, this Friday, we get the non-farm payrolls. That's going to be interesting because, again, it's bringing up the number one thing we're looking with rates in that inverted yield curve as of recently. So that's one thing to look at. Again, don't forget about Brexit in the pound. Even people have been talking about the risks and whatnot. So I have a play with that we talked about last week. Watch that. Watch the Japanese yen and China's, and, see how they respond. But even then, I believe the yen this morning, it's gapping up. So this could be good for U.S. equities. We'll see how some of the Asian stocks close. And then again, Europe in the morning. So that's stuff to watch. And even gold now. I'd say put gold on the list. But as far as this week, I'm going to talk about some of the other plays. I forgot to mention, I have GM on there. We're going to talk about some of the auto companies because we also have auto sale numbers coming out. But first things first, I want to look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, the chip makers, SMH is the ETF for all of them. But NVIDIA and Micron are going to be my top ones because if NVIDIA, I call it NVIDIA. I've been trying to say NVIDIA for you guys. But I believe that NVIDIA, if it keeps going up and holding and does what it's done last week where it has this big gap up, really it's gapping up, following the market, and then next morning it's just gapping up to kind of a good mid-level. So watch and see if that holds strength and see if Micron does too. So if we do get a market rally, I'm going to be aiming for those. And now here's one thing you guys got to pick up for this week leading into next week. It's coming fast. The volatility could scare people, or I think it's distracting people. Earnings is coming up. Lululemon, Restoration Hardware, we've already seen what they did last week, and they're giving us hints, and we're seeing that the market is still making some moves. And, Restoration Hardware, the pricing on the option chain was pretty unreal and it was pretty accurate. So I am going to be looking out for that and keep an eye out for that. And even Restoration Hardware and Lulu, I wouldn't throw these out of the mix for a continuation play. So these might go opposite of the market regardless of what the market does because their valuations have changed so much due to the post earnings. A few days have gone by. We're going to see how implied volatility is. So keep an eye out for that. Somebody better bring that up in chat tomorrow. It's going to be important, but watch those chip makers. Next, Apple. It's kind of related to them, and that Apple right away, anytime this week, we bring up Apple, anytime even this month, honestly, until we get a real clear-cut idea. You bring up Apple, you have to bring up Qualcomm because there's stuff going out, and I want on with both of them, and I want to see if there's any inverse correlation or whatever it may be. But Apple, it's approaching this price here. I think it's near, okay, I really put the ticker wrong. AAPL. I did it twice. Wow. It's approaching 190, and 190 is near to 200. So around that 190, even 193 level, it could get interesting. So and it has had a big run up. There could be some moves. So hopefully the implied volatility has dropped from that and made things kind of a little bit more clear cut. So keep your eye out for that. Next, GM. So I'm not going to put Tesla in this, but watch GM and Ford. And now a lot of people ask me between Ford and GM. If you are going to be day trading and using shares, I would play Ford because you could get more and it's a little bit more stable. However, options and even general of the movement, I prefer GM. So I'm going to watch with the auto sale numbers. I think that could be interesting. I'm definitely going to keep my eye out on for that. And I actually picked up puts on it last week. So even in general, how GM has been playing out, they are also connected to the Lyft IPO. And now that's something too with that watch Lyft and see how it performs. It's going to be the first day after the IPO, but even better than Lyft, let me show you guys, Levi's. So we played this last week on the IPO. I still have my shares. I'm actually going to look to sell covered calls on this, believe it or not. But let this thing see if it has an inverse with Lyft and see, it literally reacted as Lyft was dropping on Friday. It was a direct inverse, and it was crazy. That could be showing us what the market thinks and everything. But watch that play and how it continues. Levi has options. We'll see. Keep your eye out for when Lyft gets options. Someone call that out when it does, and that's that. As far as those companies, now the next set, I'm going to give you guys ETFs. And now you guys know how I am with these. You guys know how I've talked about them in the past, but essentially, I'm not the biggest fan of these. So what I mean by that is not being the biggest fan. You guys know how I've talked about it. We'll start with TLT. Pretty much if you have to really get the big drop. Like here on TLT, like these big moves here, they didn't make you that much money. You really made money being this guy right here or here. That's the only way you're going to get those big, huge percent gain returns. Otherwise, remember, options are insurance. So these ETFs are financial products. They're designed to do certain things in certain environments. So back to TLT, watch rates and see what that does this week. But back to even those ETFs now, if they're designed and expected to do something, that's going to be priced into the option. So that's why after the move, you're kind of screwed. However, this is what I'm trying to say. Coming into earnings, is the market going to go up or down? It doesn't really matter. We are positioned either right now for a big drop down or another rally up. And that's why, even watching the Jappy overnight and seeing what that does, that could be very, very interesting. But bringing it back to the ETFs, wait for a crush in here, and the volatility could already be crushed simply because time premium, believe it or not. Be careful on the puts on those inverses. Make sure you guys calculate the break evens. However, where they're at, it could be interesting, but I'm going to look at UVXY. I'm going to look at UVXY, and this is what I'm telling you guys. You see that crush? It held up last week, killed it, boom. If it comes down a little bit more here, there's going to be some good opportunities regardless of which direction it picks up. So I'm going to look for the pricing tomorrow morning. We're going to scan those in the first 30 minutes. In the really every single hour and a half, I'm going to come back to them. So keep your eyes out on for those. Any of those indexes, even like GLD, gold got smacked too. So again, these are the opportunities you want. You see, you wouldn't have made any money on gold plays unless you were around here but even then, I'll actually go through, let's see, 314 on GLD. If you guys want to pull up the option chain, excuse me, I give you guys some gnarly, mucus snorts there, but where were we? I think March 14th. Let's pick an April 18th contract, even though it's fairly short expiration. It's at 122, went to 126. Let's say you went out in the money at like a 125. These are $30. You guys know how I feel about that. So yeah, you could have bought those at 62 cents. Literally, and you guys see until it really, really gapped up, you were only making about 50%, which isn't bad. However, you got to factor in the price you're paying to hold that asset. And then at one point, it was probably up 300% right there, 60 to like 180 almost, not barely. But now you see it's capitulated. That's both time premium and the volatility. So even then, you could go out to May if you want to get yourself a little more time. And again, we could see those same contracts, very similar situation. But the day before they dropped, they were at 173. Then they dropped to 117, almost 100% or 50% drop, and then they started climbing back. So what I'm trying to tell you guys with these ETFs, take advantage of now the volatility crush. There's very small windows. So at the same time, understand the risk when you guys are playing that. ETFs are very difficult to play with options, because now you're dealing with the financial product, the expectations of the underlying asset, and now these price premiums and the implied volatility works a little bit differently. But obviously same in theory and concept, but it's what's pushing and pulling the underlying asset. So keep your eyes out for that, UVXY, GLD, TLT related to the rates, and just see where the market is too. And even coming in, we want to see if there's that trend of selling the rip and how that's going to play out. If we see added volatility, if we see calm. But again, my date is this week could be another interesting week. remember, guys, please be patient. Keep your money that you made, because coming in, I think April 12th, if anything, we're going to get a little bit more action, or at least clarity if they're going to kick the can or what with Brexit. And that's the other risk. Oh, and lastly, I forgot to mention other political stuff that could creep in is Turkey. There's a bunch of stuff there. I talked about that, and I relate Turkey with Russia and oil, and then we also have Russia and Venezuela, and that situation's not getting better. But again, Turkey is also, before October and August, we had a huge drama in Turkey, and you'd be surprised, Turkey's economic effect, even within that region, it has a bigger effect than you guys think. So if that kind of boils out and gets a little bit drawn out and not too good, who knows how that could turn out, but keep an eye out for that. That could be something in the side eye. And then even watch China as well too, but I think they might do a little better with those manufacturing numbers rebounding after 4 months. So we will see, but that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I have for you. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I need your watch list below, and I better see you on stream tomorrow morning. It's going to be fun. I hope you guys are excited. I'm stoked. Get some good rest. Drink that water, not too much so it doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night, but stay hyped, man. Just get ready, man. Get ready. Do your push-ups. Let's go.